It is prediction time. Ladies and gentlemen, the 2025 MLB season is a week away. Well, technically the MLB season already started. The Dodgers and Cubs have already played 2 games by the time this video gets out there. Opening day officially though for all 20 other ball clubs is the 27th of March. It's time to get into predictions. As always, let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section as I try to accurately predict every team's record and the World Series champion. We will begin in the National League. Leading things off, 5th place in the National League East, I have the Miami Marlins finishing at 48 and 112. Again, some of these numbers might be off, but roughly you get it. I have the Marlins below 50 wins this year. This is not a good baseball team. This is one of the worst baseball teams I've ever seen put together on paper. 4th in the NL East, I have the Washington Nationals, the Nats. Again, this is a team that I still think is on track to win a World Series, but I want to see some more youth involved when it comes to the Nationals rebuild. So a few veterans, so we'll see if the guys fit in, but I have the Nats finishing at 4th at 66 and 96. 3rd place in the NL East, I have the New York Mets. The Mets finishing at 75 and 87 for me. This is a team that is already beginning behind the 8 ball when it comes to injuries, and I just don't think the Mets are going to be able to hold together, especially when it comes to their starting pitching rotation. I know people will tell me, oh well, it's going to be good. I get it. I just don't trust the Mets. We know the Mets, and I understand how teams operate year to year. History tells us, and the Mets tell us, that this is going to be a down season for the Mets. Number 2 in the NL East, I have the Philadelphia Phillies. So some people are down the Phillies, myself not really included. I think the Phillies are going to be pretty good. I do have them sliding back from winning division, going to 2nd place again this time in 2025. But the Phillies are going to be one of the top teams in the National League. And finishing 1st in the NL East, I have the Atlanta Braves finishing at 96 and 66. This is a really good Braves team. They dealt with so many injuries last year, and as long as they're healthy this year, this Braves team is going to be one of the best in baseball. Now we move on to NL Central, and this is a division that I just didn't know what to do with. I honestly, this was a coin flip division, and that's kind of how my picks went. I just flipped a coin for all 5 of these teams, but we start off at number 5 with the Chicago Cubs. Yes, the Cubbies 70 and 92 is what I have them at. Somebody has come in last, and the Cubs have let me down for so long. I like Craig Counsell as a manager, but this Cubs team, I just don't know if they're going to be able to put it together. So I have them at 70 wins this season. Number 4 in the NL Central, I have the St. Louis Cardinals, a couple wins ahead of the Cubs, 72 and 90. The Cardinals were horrific last year, and I don't see this year getting any better. Nice young players in St. Louis, but that pitching rotation is awful. Number 3 in the NL Central, the Milwaukee Brewers. So this is the team that I finally see regressing, and people have been calling out the Brewers to regress for a while now. Not me. I think the Brewers have been maintaining their success. I predicted them to maintain their success over the last couple of seasons, but this season I have them falling off at 80 wins and 82 losses, 3rd place in the NL Central. Number 2 in the Central, I have the Pittsburgh Pirates. So I have the Pirates at 81 and 81, 1 win better than the Brewers. Again, this is just predictions by me. It's going to be who knows what. But again, I have these teams really close. Kind of what I'm trying to say here. These teams are really even. It's not one team that is just super bad from the rest or super good from the others. But I have the Pirates at 2nd place. If Paul Skeens can be elites, maybe their offense catches some fire and they have some really good pitchers in that starting rotation. You just never know. So I have the Pirates at 2nd in the NL Central. At 1st place in the NL Central, I have the Red Legs, the Cincinnati Red Legs. This is a team that a lot of people are going to be high on. I'm going to assume. I do like the Reds, and I mean, Elly De La Cruz, I have this guy being a future MVP. Maybe this is the year that Elly could win the MVP. Maybe not, because Shohei Ohtani's in the NL, but Elly De La Cruz is certainly going to be playing a pivotal role in the Cincinnati success this season, so I have them winning the division. Move on to the NL West, where we start in 5th place. Belongs to no other than Colorado. The Rockies finishing at 61 and 81. I should mention I have the Reds at 88 and 74. The Rockies 61 and 101. Yeah, this Rockies team, good offense for sure. It's Coors Field, they're gonna be fun to watch, but the pitching, there's just no pitching in Colorado. Without pitching, you're not gonna win many ball games. Number 4 in the NL West, I have the San Francisco Giants finishing at 74 and 88. They just love being mediocre. And I know Buster Posey took over there, so we'll see what his plan looks like long term. But this season, mediocre 74 wins for the San Francisco Giants. The San Diego Padres, I have them at 3rd place at 84 wins and 78 losses. The Padres team that I think is going to regress a little tiny bit. Still a good baseball team, still elite players on that team. but I do see them regressing. They lost a lot of talents the offseason. See the Padres regressing a little bit, but still a decent 84 wins. Number 2 in the NL West, I have the Arizona Diamondbacks. The D-backs at 92-70. This team missed out on the postseason by a game. And it's really a shame that they missed out, because I think they would have been a lot more of a player in the postseason than the Atlanta Braves, for example. So the D-backs, I have them getting back in. I like what they did the offseason. I've kind of warmed up to it at least. I look at the roster top to bottom. It's a really good roster. So 92 wins for the D-backs. And finishing first place in the National League West, I have the Los Angeles Dodgers at 104-58. So I had an over-under 103 in my last video talking about the Dodgers. I'm finishing at 104-58 in 2025. Move on to the American League, where we will start out east. In 5th place, I have the Toronto Blue Jays at 75 wins and 87 losses. This is the Blue Jays team that is a really good team. They're in a really tough division. All these teams are pretty good at some area or another, and the Blue Jays are a good offense, but I just don't trust their pitching enough and their offense also enough on a day-to-day basis. Number 4 in the AL East, I have the Tampa Bay Rays coming at 78-84. I put the Rays above the Blue Jays because I trust their pitching a little bit more, and their offense could be a little bit more well-rounded. Even though I think Toronto has a better offense slightly, but I think the pitching is better in Tampa Bay. 3rd place in the AL East, I have the Baltimore Orioles. So this is the Orioles team that just kind of found themselves in the middle. I look at the teams in the division, and the Orioles have a really good offense, but their pitching is like bottom 5 in the American League. At least on the starting pitching. The bullpen isn't bad, but starting pitching, that is a Cardinals level starting rotation. That's just not good. Number 2 in the AL East, I have the New York Yankees finishing at 90-72. This Yankees ball club lost Garrett Cole, but they have Max Fried there. I think he's their ace, even though Rodon's going to be their starter. I don't trust Rodon at all. I don't think he's very good, especially worth his contract. The Yankees have a good offense, but the Yankees' downfall really always has been their fundamentals. Can they do the fundamentals correctly? That's kind of why they lost the World Series last year, fundamental baseball. But the Yankees, 90 wins, 72 losses. They're going to regress, obviously, but still good enough to be competitive this season. And winning the AL East, I have the Boston Red Sox. I can't even believe I'm doing this. I don't know how I'm doing this, but I have the Red Sox finishing first in the American League East, 92-70. I'm just a big believer in their bullpen, and I think they have a pretty good offense overall. We talk about well-rounded team. I think the Red Sox are that going into the season. Things can change mid-season, but as of right now, I think the Red Sox are going to edge out the Yankees to win the American League East. We've gone to the AL Central, where we have the Chicago White Sox finishing last place at 51-109. White Sox, not a very good ball club. They are going to improve from last year. Can't be worse than last year. 1 wins for the White Sox, just getting over the 50-win mark. For the Minnesota Twins, I have them at 4th place, finishing at 72-90. This is a Twins team that their star player in Royce Lewis and Byron Buxton, their star players, are just injury prone. And you can't be a playoff team with injury prone players, and the rotation is not good enough. So I have the Minnesota Twins finishing at 4th place in the AL Central. 3rd place, I have the Kansas City Royals. So the Royals was a team last year that I just did not buy in, and they kind of proved me wrong. Obviously, going to the postseason, they played well. This year, I have them once again finishing in the middle. So 79 wins for the Royals. I just don't believe in this team to do it again. So let's see if they can prove me wrong. They have an MVP candidate in Bobby Witt Jr., but I just don't believe in this team to go back out there and do it again. I love Cole Reagans, though, on the starting pitching mound. Number 2, I have the Cleveland Guardians. 85-77. The Guardians won this division last year. I see them taking a slight step back, but still being competitive enough in a pretty mediocre division. Winning that AL Central, I'm going to have the Detroit Tigers finishing at 91-71. This is a Tigers team that broke their playoff curse last year. They made a nice little run, and this year have them make another run this year. I like this Tigers team. If they could really add at the deadline, I'm really not hoping, but this team needs to add at the deadline. Like, I think they're going to be really good at the beginning of the year. Tariq Schoolball, their lineup is well-rounded. I just think they need to add at the deadline, add a bat or two, maybe an arm, and this team is going to be scary going into the second half of the season. Moving on to the American League West, where we have the the Sacramento Athletics finishing at 72-90. This is a team that many people are high on. I'm not believing in it as of right now. But yeah, Sacramento, we'll see what they do. Mariners 75-87, 4th place. Again, this is a really good rotation. Not a bad lineup, but overall, this Mariners team is just stuck in the mediocre middle. as for just how I see it. So yeah, fourth place for Seattle. Third place, I have the Anaheim Angels, 79-83. I like this Angels team, as weird as it sounds. I think this Angels team can make some noise, enough noise to make the postseason. I don't believe so, but they're going to be a lot better than they were last year, I do believe. Second place, I have the Houston Astros at 88-74. This is the Houston team that has slowly been regressing, but their pitching is still really elite in my opinion, and that's what's going to keep them afloat moving forward. Still a decent enough offense in a relatively mediocre division. So the Houston Astros at 88 wins, and winning that division, I have the Texas Rangers at 92-70. This is the Rangers division to lose. There should be no excuses for Texas. They should be the favorites, even though the Astros have dominated that division. I think Texas is the overall favorites to win the AL West. So making the playoffs in the National League, have the Dodgers, Reds, and Braves as your division winners. Diamondbacks, Phillies, and Padres as the wild cards. American League, I have the Rangers, Tigers, and Red Sox as your division winners. I have the Astros, Guardians, and Yankees as the wild card teams. In the postseason, I have the Tigers and Dodgers going to the World Series. Now hear me out. This is just my gut feeling. I was just looking at my paper and pen, and I was just getting a tingling feeling like, you know what, this Tigers team is going to be special this year. I couldn't pick against the Dodgers. If I was going to pick against the Dodgers, it would have been the Arizona Diamondbacks. I was kind of feeling the D-backs a little bit, but I went with the Dodgers to go all the way back to the World Series. And I do have the Dodgers win the World Series once again, but I have the Tigers going on a run to the World Series. Like I said, I think the Tigers are a piece or two away from being really, really elite contenders. And so I have Detroit and LA. This is actually the opening day matchup at Dodger Stadium. Detroit and LA in the World Series. Let me know your guys' thoughts down below in the comment section about my predictions overall. But yeah, the Dodgers are just the most well-rounded team in baseball. On paper, on the field, they are just the best team. They do the right things, little things. They do everything when it comes to playing a baseball game the right way. They're going to win the game on power. They're going to win with fundamentals. They're going to win with speed. They're going to win with pitching. They do it all the right way. I don't need to explain it any much longer. This Dodger team is going to be really tough to beat, and I really hope, as a fan of the team, that they can be the first team to repeat in 25 years.